Project 13 Nightwatch is a $6 indie title where you play as an observer, which is essentially a security guard that is tasked with watching over a building and spotting anomalies. Think of it like playing the role of a prison tower guard, but with a dark twist. You are looking for monsters, skeletons, dead bodies, and shadows that don't quite make sense. Your job is simple: spot those anomalies, shoot them, or issue an all clear to end the night shift. Simple on paper, but in practice, it doesn't exactly hold up compared to many games today, especially for anyone expecting more than an hour's worth of gameplay. The atmosphere of the game, as you'd expect, is one of the few things it gets mostly right. The game is extremely dark, sometimes almost too dark, to the point where it feels like the developers may have went overboard. I mean, I get it, you're supposed to feel tense and on edge, but when I'm literally squinting to see anything, it feels less like suspense and more like a hassle. The lighting makes navigating the environment unnecessarily frustrating at times. It's not the dark and mysterious kind of atmosphere that hooks you in, it's the I can't frickin' see what I'm supposed to be doing here kind of atmosphere that ends up feeling more annoying than tense. But in all fairness, there is a night vision mechanic, and while it does help see in some of that dark, it comes with its own sets of issues. The night vision only lasts for a limited time before it needs to recharge, and this time limit feels more annoying than necessary. It's not that the mechanic is inherently bad, I mean it does make things easier to see in the pitch black environment, but it also makes it harder to spot visual differences when you need to, and I'm okay with that. It is a good trade-off if that stupid time limit and then recharge phase wasn't something I had to contend with. Instead of adding to the tension or providing strategy, it just feels like something the game added to pad out the experience, pad out the time, switching from seeing what hides in the shadows and the details that can help distinguish between who is visible could have been strategically used. Good for speedrunning, actually fun, but it is timed instead, and that is such a shame. But even though the night vision is personal opinion on my part, here's where things start to fall apart. The character design is lackluster, minimal, and disappointing. Besides the observers, guards, and the anomalies, everyone else looks exactly the same. It is hard to get immersed in a game where every background character feels like a carbon copy of the last. No, where every background character is a carbon copy of the last. There is no personality in the crowd, not in words and not even in actions, and that monotony bleeds into the overall experience. For example, if you played the latest Hitman games, where a part of the fun is figuring out who in the crowd is your target by distinguishing small details between the NPCs, in this game it's just a sea of identical faces, making every moment spent observing feel like you're locked in a never-ending loop of, have I seen that homie already? Was he doing that last time? And they aren't fun questions to ask after 100 times, especially when 90% of those characters are T-posing and not doing anything exciting in the least. I really think this game would have benefited from more variety, more faces, more character models, more life to the world. It doesn't have to be on the level of Hitman, obviously, this is an indie game, but some effort to make things feel less cookie cutter would have gone a long way. As for the core mechanics, just like the security job that I worked, it is repetitive as heck. You're given the responsibility of spotting anomalies, which means you spend a lot of time scanning through the same dark, repetitive environments, looking for little details. The problem, it's incredibly easy to miss things, especially with the lack of a real tutorial to teach you the ropes. Sure, you can look up how to play, but that's not exactly the best way to engage with a game. Not everyone will go that route, and honestly, the game should teach you how to play through design rather than forcing you to rely on external sources. The game doesn't give you much feedback either. You'll get a green light when you get things right, or face an explosion of red when you're wrong, but the lack of deeper consequences makes it hard to stay engaged. There's no real sense of progression to get excited about, and the gameplay loop begins to wear thin after just a short period of time. That is also a shame because I liked the game. Even having to teach myself how to play was a rewarding kind of aggravation, but it is definitely not something many will feel the same about in today's day and age of instant gratification, and I can see a lot of people clicking off and refunding this as quickly as possible. There is something I'll give the game some credit for though. The anomalies themselves are pretty cool. There's a variety of them, with one that look like a character from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I'm looking at you Leatherhead, and others that pose as guards or try to mess with you in clever ways. The diversity in the monsters helps break up the monotony, and at times I actually felt a little bad for some of the creatures. There were moments when I questioned whether they were actually dangerous, or if they were a misunderstood part of the world I'd found myself in. It's a missed opportunity that the game never dives deeper into the story of these anomalies, because I wanted to know more about why they were there, what their purpose was, what happened to them, were they people at one point? Instead you get a surface level experience with no real lore to build on, and it really downplays the importance of them. I mean, I still like them by design alone, but it just, I don't know, it wasn't fulfilling. What I didn't like even more was the audio side of it all though. The sounds are random and don't really do much to enhance the tension or even the immersion. I never noticed any audio cues that warned me about approaching danger in a way that felt intentional. Sure, there's some ambient noise, but it doesn't do enough to make the world feel alive or help you track those anomalies that you're looking for. This is yet another missed opportunity, especially for a game that relies so heavily on atmosphere. If the audio was more dynamic, it could have made the whole experience feel much more engaging. Instead, it's just random noise with no real purpose. Not to me as a player, which is something I am not for long. What I mean is, this is a one and done game. Sure, you can replay it, and there's even a hardcore mode for those who may want to give it another shot, but honestly, after my first run, I couldn't find enough to make me want to go back. I mean, full transparency, I did go back, I went for the platinum, I had to clean up a trophy, but not out of genuine interest. It's not that the game's an outright bad experience, because it's not. It's just that it doesn't do enough to keep you invested. After an hour or so of playtime, the novelty wears off, and what is left is a pretty basic experience with a few interesting ideas that never fully evolve. The game's platinum trophy is ridiculously easy to get, and you'll likely earn it within the first playthrough, but after that, the thought of returning is one that just simply doesn't exist. It is a fast, short ride that's arguably fun in the moment, but doesn't leave a lasting impact whatsoever, and is definitely not for everyone. I gotta make that abundantly clear. I was honored enough to get a review key for this game. Thank you for that, truly. If I'm being generous, it is worth its $6 price tag, but just barely. I would argue it's more of a $3.99 game, especially considering the lack of variety in characters, the repetitive gameplay loop, and the absence of a compelling story or even any lore at all. It has moments of tension, and some of the anomalies are fun to spot, but it is not enough to keep you coming back for more. It is the kind of game that might be worth checking out for a quick, maybe tense experience, but don't expect it to stick with you once the credits roll. In the end, this is a decent little indie title that'll give you a brief thrill, but ultimately it'll leave you wanting more, wishing for more. It is a shame that it doesn't push further with its premise, because with a bit more polish and depth, this could have been a much stronger experience. But for now, it's just a fleeting moment of dark, eerie fun that fades as quickly as it came. For more news, reviews, and whatever we choose, stay tuned to Nerdsfeed. Have a great day. Thank you.